Well, welcome everyone to the Resilient Wild and Unstoppable interview series. And please like, comment, and introduce yourself when Linda introduces herself and shares her links. So look out for those. So today we are talking to Linda, and I am so excited to introduce her. She sounds fabulous in every way, shape, or form. So, Linda, what inspired you to be on this journey that you are currently on?
It was this journey or this today journey. Which one?
This journey of life that brought you into my world as
Yeah,
this
I guess it's this,
magical
let's call
worker.
it connection. You know, when you meet somebody and you're going, yep, yep, that's my person, you just like, and this happened. The one woman who referred this interview, shared with me. We have like a whole history, not at the same time, but from the same places, doing the same things, you know. And when we first got together, it's women are. And and so right there, you know, it's just your people that you may have not met yet. I met her. She recommended you. I'm absolutely no qualms, you know. And this is really the journey I'm on. Look for your pearls. And they might be covered with mud until you start recognizing them as pearls.
I
And so
love that.
I call that your spiritual journey. When you reference that to some people, they don't necessarily grab onto those terms, your spiritual journey. But that's basically how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it you do to help this Facebook community get to know you?
I guess just I be me. I do me, honestly. you know, I'm like as organic can be at this point, you know. And I do actually, have a, a practice. I help people. I help women get to, and it's a spiritual journey. So you're getting. I come in on the note of get to know your own energy
Mhm.
and separate yours from others, and coming at it from the avenue of an empath or a sensitive, and or an intuitive is another way, depending on your particular abilities, talents, gifts. And yeah, that's what I do. So it's letting women, helping women get to their own frequency
Hmm.
and clear. And I'll refer to it as the shadows. So the things in us that we've, uh, there's parts of us that have been wounded through life experience, or were born into families that just have wounds, or an environment that just is wounding, like you got it, it came your way. And so these parts of us, parts of our soul, kind of get frozen in time at that emotional state. And not, and the unfortunate thing is perhaps our parents or whoever, are those who took care of us, did not know how to help us heal.
Hmm.
Maybe it just was not in their arena, to do that. um, and so these parts are not nurtured, and they are fragmented and kind of captured away from us, and it's really our job to uh, bring them back into our soul, our soul in wholeness, not in fragmented parts. And so that's the work. That's the work I do, and it's all done through love and compassion. Great topic of this heart. It's a beautiful heart that we all have access to, and it's a higher heart. And just like you tune in, so we get this reference. Not every young person might, but
Right.
we used to have radio stations, and we would have to fine tune to get
Mhm.
it to play clear. And I used to play classical music all the time, right? So you want that clean, right? Clear. And so you're fine tuning. This is what you do to your own soul energy. You fine tune. And that is an ever, just like a computer, you have to keep upgrading, right? This is a kind of a life walk-in process. This is the arc of your life. And if you look at it anyway, you've been doing that all along. And when you
Absolutely.
get really fed up, it's because you didn't do it. So, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So, in coming on to this journey of healing and working with women, what are some super tips that you would offer others that maybe are transitioning into a different space in life, a different transitionary period of life?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, it's forced transitions because one stage stopped and it's evident a new stage has to start. Oddly enough, I think they're all um, organic, even though they may not look that way. I think they may look incredibly abrupt. But my recommendation would be it's the human nature to look outside yourself for the answer, and that ain't where it is. No, 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 not there. And so somebody's good idea might be a fabulous idea, but is it your idea? Is it you? Is it from you? If from you, you are going to be given the energy inside your system. That is my thing. That is my bullseye. And the whole system of the body, talk in terms of chakra system, will line up behind like little pistons in an engine to support your idea. You might call it your goal, but some of these things come to you and it's like, the big ahas. And, you know, that's what I would recommend. The listening outside, listen and go, like, it's your turn to have a podcast. Well, I don't know. I just love talking to people. That's you. That's the organic you.
Yeah.
Which one will it be? How will I do this? Maybe it's called a podcast. Maybe I'll just have a YouTube channel. I don't know. I'm going to find that one that feels right for my system, you know. And I'm not living up to a schedule.
Right.
Don't feel right. Now, or whatever, you got to learn, it's learning to read yourself. I have to say, I don't even want to go under the category of healer.
Hmm.
Uh, it's what I can help people do for themselves.
Yeah.
Guide you to do that for yourself. It isn't this park your brains at the door and walk into the doctor office, have them stand across the room from you and say da 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 da, and you go, thank you. It's not my game. It's not my game. And so, it's really an inward journey. Those transitions were meant to be. Um, Looking outside for your answer, it's really the absolute opportunity to go inside. And there's a lot to say about that going inside because people want to be constantly busy or numb,
Hmm.
busy or sedated. And that's the whole thing you have to do is stop. You got to stop so you can catch up with yourself.
Ooh.
You got to stop. So because we give so much credit to the mind, right? Beautiful things, right? That the enlivened heart is like 70 times more powerful than the brain
Hmm.
waves, and the heart truly is your compass. We all know, yeah. You all know yes and no from a heart level. And but we let the mind get in there, busy ass buddies, busybody, right? Constantly humming and going like a bunch of bees or wasps, and thinking that that is the way it is, and that you're not there to take some charge of that.
Hmm.
You're a being. You're not a buzzy bee. You're here, and what do beings do? They be. That ain't real movement. A ton of movement. So you have to like catch up with yourself. And by stopping this, which we have the mental capacity, which is also not all of us, and we have the emotional prince, which is also not all of us, but we are a divine being, and that whole concept, people put that on like, oh, and I live on a cloud, or I, it's not opening up to the presence of your higher self, and as presence in the body, being embodied, soul embodied. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I help people nurture in themselves. So this is what I would say: stop. Don't necessarily listen outside yourself. It might be good recommendations, but is it yours? Is it for you?
Yeah.
Don't know how to judge. You don't know how to tell? Stop. Got to learn how to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's some of us that are kind of open in different areas, and I'm one that's open up here. So whatever is in my environment to think and being thought, levels of conscious, it's going to go through here. Now,
Yeah.
my job is to learn how to regulate that and learn how to discern what is from me. Because I can way too easily say, oh, feel this. And it's not my thing. And then I don't have the energy to support it and have that longevity, um, to carry it through.
That is so good. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I can see, like I was talking, but I don't know if we talked about before we started recording, but like your soul journey and
Mm-hmm.
these little ear markings, little footsteps along the way. And some of them are so muddy, you wouldn't even know that right there on the other side was all your light. And I look at that like, pirates marked the treasure with a big X on the map. And like, here you are, you're standing on the X, the big muddy X, like, oh, and right there, if one knows how to really get introspective and into stillness, then this people always looking for their gifts, they're hidden right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they can unfold, and then the higher essence of them can begin to seep, like pinholes seep in, you know and and it's kind of getting used to that and allowing that to be that way, and learning how to, so often something will come up, like a big shadowy tough part of life will come up, and we basically just want to push it away and get it over with, you
Yeah.
know and shove it down. And the fact is, right there, we think and feel a certain way about ourselves and those involved. And what we need to do is let that be there and give it its own space that you are present with, as opposed to sitting in the middle of the mud puddle and being it.
Yeah.
So we're not it on a higher self level. We are not it. But so if we can allow it to be, then we get distance. It's here. We can look upon it. We can allow it. We're not having this internal like war. It's not like and just identifying, and feel labeled and weighed down and heart closed. These life things can just slam the doors of your heart shut. And it's really, I vividly remember I had all my little wake up calls where I was standing. I was in, was in the Bay Area. I was right by, getting off at Center Avenue, in Richmond kind of area. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know, but I was driving on the up part of the overpass, and it hit me. And this was, oh my God, the heart just slams shut all the time. And we have to actively get back into the place where we can open up our heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is a little part of my, I really listen loudly to those inner things that I've gone through. And I often I'm a big storyteller, and I tell those kind of stories. You can tell the stories of woe, you
Yeah.
know, here's my mud, my woe, my story. And it's good to learn, or if you can if you have ears to hear, they say, to listen with your inner ear at them, the stories. So if the story is just of woe and this happens to me, and you're looking for people to, oh, I'm so sorry, which is you, compassion is very important, but
Hmm.
compassion that will help the person say, okay, well, where do we go from here? As opposed to, let's stop swimming in this cesspool. It can get like, we can get really mired in this, and these things can go on for years and they don't need to, you
Yeah.
know. And so you want to, basically, if you have a story, um, tell your stories that have a conclusion, that you've brought them around to where the light came in the tunnel. And those are valuable stories. Those are stories that are going to help somebody. And then, try to catch ourselves when we start in that other vein and we just don't notice it. We're and we're just digging that trench deeper and deeper and deeper, and you feel a certain way about it. And so the people around you, this is what you're emanating. This is what we look out there, and what's being emanated out of these bodies and these minds. And you don't think about those um, planes of existence affecting you, but hey, it's all here, and we just think of, this kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
there's so much that you shared that people will be able to grasp onto and go, ooh, that's me. Ooh,
yeah.
maybe
And
I
you
need
know
to really
why?
think about that.
Because it's humanity. We're
Hmm.
all up against these things, and it may look a little different. But the whole thing is that more shadowy, what we were born into and what we're literally here. And you talked about this, to transition. I said, what is the purpose of this? And
Yeah.
one of those things was to transmute, transition the way, what I will say, these aren't your words, the way of being,
Hmm.
or organically being in your body, that you're not just running off all these programs
Right.
and the way it was, and reacting and labeling people. Is, there's a big center point that needs to be reached,
Yes.
and that starts inside of you. So whatever you're going through, whatever you want to come into your life, the only place it comes in is inside here, and then gets reflected out there.
Hmm.
Otherwise, this is all kind of phony.
Yeah.
It's not the real thing. Um, it will kind of come and go, and like, how are you morphing yourself even to habit when you're not first doing what needs to be done to have it in here? And that's all accessible, no matter how much you don't believe that. That's just one of the shadows. And it thinks it's got front and center stage in the middle of your head, heart and all that. It's not. Don't believe it. I'm just saying, don't believe it. Let's get you past that.
Oh my gosh, it has been so much fun having this conversation with you and helping people understand, don't believe it, and
Yeah,
open their
yeah.
heart. And I really appreciate this conversation and this time with you today.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
so yeah, thank you so much. And with that, any last words before we close out this video?
Hello, everyone. Just hello. I mean, like hello, like not hello, wake up. Hello, heart, heart, hello. Hello. Wherever it is, whatever you're going through. High, low, medium, hello, you know,
Awesome.
meet you there kind of thing.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Linda.
You're welcome. Thank you. Lovely conversation. Let's let's do it with lunch. No.